Hello and welcome to the second part of Railway World, and this week we're on the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway, which for those of you that don't know runs for 13.5 miles past the back gardens of Hythe, the wide open expanses of the new Romney marshes, and terminates here in the somewhat bleak and desolate place that is Dungeness. It's an area really bereft of any features other than the railway terminal itself, a few huts scattered hither and thither, and the massive nuclear power station.
On average, a driver will do 56 miles in a day. So on our 13.5 mile line, each driver will do at least 2 round trips. We have 13 locos, 11 steam and 2 diesel, and in that we've got about 50 coaches, which we make our trains up of. So varying on time of year, depending on the day, depending on the service, we will have a train anything up to about 15 coaches. Our season is just about every day of the year except for the short break we get at Christmas. We get Christmas Day and Boxing Day and 2 days after that off, which we're always pleased for. But beyond that, we run a train just about every other day. Even on the days when we don't advertise the train timetable, we have numerous other things going on. We run a school contract where we bring children in from Burmarsh, Dymchurch and St Mary's Bay into New Romney in the morning and take them back in the evening, and they go to the local academy up the road. So that's always a service that we run every day there's a school open. Beyond that, we do driver experience days where people come and have a go at driving the engines themselves. These are on the days when we're not running a passenger service, so we can have 1 or 2 of them running around and people come down, have a go. And also beyond that, we then have the private hire trains where people want to hire a train and run a service. So whatever day it is of the year, you can expect to see something happening on the Romney.
All is quiet here at New Romney Station as we await the arrival of the next train. But before we carry on with this programme, I'd like to just read a letter here from Mr. Peter Hicks. And he says, "Visually, I enjoyed the clips of the Cleethorpes film, parts 1 and 2, and the other shorts. But the background music was not background music. It drowned out the narrative and any train or trackside shots that there were. I've noticed it in the past, but never said anything then. The reason I watch your usual excellent programme is that it helps us to keep in touch with what's going on around the country. I do hope you can and will reduce the sound level of the background music. Thank you, regards, Peter Hicks." Dave. Turn it off. Turn it off. He doesn't like the background. Doesn't. Now, we don't need any background music on this next clip because Tez Pictel spends his weekends faffing around on a full-size Class 37 locomotive on the Llangollen Railway in North Wales. And luckily for us, the last time that he went, he took his camera with him. Now, for some people, like steam enthusiasts, the noise that's going to emanate from this next clip is as hellish as anything that Harrison Birtwistle might have composed. For others, such as young people like myself, it's as sweet as anything Mozart might have committed to paper. doesn't get any sweeter than that, does it? Unless, of course, you're a steam lover, in which case the only thing that will rid you of that oral hell that you've just been through is the sound of some steam. Well, in that case, we might just have the perfect antidote for you, courtesy of Space Marine 88, as he's known on YouTube, or Stephen Burrows, as he's known in real life. Here is a shot of a gorgeous Australian locomotive, BB 181079, easing away from Pinkiba and heading back to the city, mate. Huh? No, that wasn't a question. That's my Australian accent. No, they... Stephen Burrows was the person what shot that, and if Australian steam is your cup of tea, or should I say tube of Foster's, then the link is printed on our page. Now then, before we finish with Railway World this week, let's head off into the world of modelling. And no, I don't mean the 6 foot 2 inch blonde variety, I mean the soldering iron point work and scratch built locomotive sort. This is the fantastic layout of Peter Thomas. It's HO and it's called Eaton Gomery, and I saw it in its entirety for the first time only recently, as indeed did Peter Thomas. Pete's a big day for you and your layout.
Yeah, it's the first time it's actually been together. You know, where I build it in a garage, I can only erect 3 boards. So this morning's really the first time I've seen the whole thing as an entirety.
And what do you think?
It's run reasonably well. I expected, you know, there would be the odd teething problem. I mean, there's a couple of points that didn't work properly, but yeah, as the day's gone on, it's got better and better.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a better idea than you know, the original U shape that I had in, which was, you know, very problematic to store and to erect, and this is just much better.
Right. And in your mind, has it lived up to your mind's eye?
Yes. Yeah. It's more or less what I originally anticipated it would be, you know, when I finished. But it's building it that way has all sorts of problems, and even things like, you know, trying to remember you know, the spacing between fence poles and things like this when you've done some on a board that you've probably built 18 months ago. You know, it's a bit of a problem. But no, I'm reasonably happy with the way things have gone.
Just give us a brief resume of the philosophy behind the layout then.
Well, it's not one of those layouts where trains whiz up and down all the time. I mean, it's much more, you know, like it would have been on the Cambrian, which was basically a single track, you know, main line, you know, so trains run in and run out. And what I actually wanted to do was to, you know, have a layout where there was a fair amount of space between, you know, the fiddle yard and the station. So you would see trains run in and run out. You know, so you'd see long slate trains, you know, snake through the platform. That's what I originally wanted to do. And I'd had a smaller layout, which was only 16 foot scenic. It always seemed to me that no sooner were the trains on the layout than they were off. You know, you blinked and you missed them. And I wanted something that would give the trains much more of a longer run. Building scenery and particularly buildings is the thing that interests me most. So I thought if I went to town on the buildings, there would be things for people to see, even when, you know, the trains weren't actually on the front. You know, so if a train disappeared, then there would still be, you know, things up this end of the layout for people to look at while they waited for a train to come back in the other direction. And that's primarily the, you know, the philosophy behind it. It was never designed to be a sort of continuous run and lots of action. It's much more a sort of lazy summer afternoon.
Well, I've spent a lazy late summer's afternoon walking the whole length of it and very much enjoyed it. Thank you, Peter.
It's a pleasure.
Peter Thomas's wonderful Eaton Gomery bringing us to the conclusion of this edition of Railway World, and a wonderful day here on the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. Whether I shall be on the next Railway World, you know, even I don't know that, so you and I will both be surprised. Until then though, cheers. Dave, you can play it on the credits. They're not complaining about the credits. Press the on button.